but she didn't have any, so she just took a Dr. Pepper and soaked it in Dr. Pepper.
Live?
It does appear to be that way.
Hey, there we go. I did it, and I didn't break it again. That's always a good thing. Yes.
So, did it taste good?
Dude, I just kept eating pork, and she started laughing. She goes, because I made a comment about how good it was. She goes, because I soaked it in Dr. Pepper, you dummy.
Listen,
and you're like, yes.
Hey, she found the secret ingredient, and that's all that matters, right?
That's right.
That's right. Like it's the 23 different flavors that just grab you and hold you forever, right?
It is a happy elixir. There is no doubt.
A happy elixir. Oh, I've got to remember that. What are you drinking? I'm drinking my happy elixir. That's exactly what I gotta do. All right, let me
somewhere around here I have the 23 rules of drinking Dr. Pepper. I need that.
23 rules of drinking Dr. Pepper. I want to know what these rules are.
Please pass down the wisdom.
Yes.
One of them is never have a Dr. Pepper on a gravel road. That's one of them I remember.
Interesting.
You know, that's valid. That's
it all up. Yes.
That's valid. That's valid. Oh my lord. Okay, friends. We got some folks in here who are anxiously awaiting. Yes. Do you guys got anything else you need to do real quick before we change on over?
It's hotter than blazes.
Well, that would be a good thing.
It's not here.
Hey.
I think we might have broke 30 today.
But
is it the breeze that's really cooling you down?
You're on the beach.
Right.
How did you?
I'm on the beach.
You're on
the beach.
I
wish.
Right?
Yeah, the breeze is cooling them off, you know?
I'm in Northeast Frozen Tennessee, so it's freezing.
Hey, it is not that.
Shouldn't be.
Where are you at? Northeast?
I'm in Bristol.
Oh, okay. I just got a letter from Bristol.
Did you? Is it a bill?
No.
I have nothing to do with it.
No, it wasn't a bill. It wasn't a bill. I follow this podcast, this audio drama called Old Gods of Appalachia. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. And
I know who it is.
They sent me their Christmas card.
Nice.
Right? And I was just like, Bristol? What? What's going on? I appreciate that.
And to put Old Gods in all
I forgot about that. They are from out here.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, they are.
They're from my town. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, because they did all that stuff. It was through Exalted Funeral, I think we did it. Would it?
Their RPG? Their Kickstarter was through Monty Cook, I thought.
Oh, maybe it was. I get them mixed up. There's so many.
Yeah. Well, all right, friends. It's time to go and do the thing where we talk to you and ask you all the hard questions. So let's go ahead and change on over and say hi to everybody. Hello, everybody. Here we are. What? Hi. Hi, everybody. Yes, it is us, your Wednesday Loremasters with the wonderful apprentice Rachel, who is the only reason we are ever here at any point in time. We know this. Tonight, though, we have two amazing special guests who are joining us tonight, and I am so happy to have them here. We have Steve, the official Troll Lord, right? I mean, that is him. The man, the myth, the legend, and Chuck, the guy with the horns. So he is the man with the horns, right? And if you've ever seen a Troll Lord stream, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He is the man with the horns. But most important, yep, exactly. Put him on. No. Tonight, though, we are going to talk about their great and wonderful upcoming Kickstarter, The Hermit, from Gary Gygax.
Chuck, you get the horns.
Oh, there
what
it is.
Was just said.
There it is.
I don't know about all that. I will say this much, Kurt.
Yes.
Doppler effect. He wins the night. He said, I want to repeat this back.
Absolutely.
He said this. He was talking about the stream. He said this one is for all the hermits out there. I thought that was very nice.
Oh, there you go. Very nice.
Yeah. Very nice.
Garrett's got the quips. He's good.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have a bajillion questions, but I'm a backer, so like I have to like quell a lot of my questions. I recognize that.
Never quell it.
I'll say so. I do, but first and foremost, for everybody who if they've lived under a rock and don't know about the Hermit, can you give us a quick rundown of what is the Hermit?
So The Hermit is an adventure written by Gary Gygax, probably in the mid 90s. It was originally written for his game, Legendary Adventures. When we began publishing Gary in 2001, we kept pestering him for an adventure. There's adventure material was selling really well in those days. And we just needed an adventure. And he really didn't want to write them because he hated writing adventures at this stage in his career. He really wanted to do some other stuff. So he pulled The Hermit out of his LA material, sent it to us. We converted it and rolled it out. And I remember when I was reading it the first time, I've said this a few times since we've been running the Kickstarter because I don't want to give anything away, but it's one of the most unique adventures I've ever read. And it is wild where your characters go. I mean, it is absolutely wild. And it has everything that anyone could want, from dungeon to overland to a whole lot of fill in the blanks to it's just crazy. And what happens to your characters is absolutely nuts as you're on your quest for the Hermit. Basic premise is the king is looking for his sage, Lodash the Hermit. No one can find him. He hires your characters to go get him.
Outstanding.
Wow.
I mean, that's awesome.
I had never read the Legendary Adventure one, and so when he sent that over to me and I read it, I was just like, "What? From Gary Gygax? It's not what you would expect. You expect some sort of.
It's just bizarre.
I don't want to say anything.
It's kind of normal, and then it gets not normal. And
Every D&D adventure ever.
Right,
right.
It does.
Right.
Okay, so not necessarily do like a product review or whatnot, but that's somebody's door.
Skype.
That's not
That
me.
is my Skype.
Yeah, it's his ringtone.
Davis, out of the blue.
What are you doing?
Of course.
What are you doing, Davis? What are you doing? Anything?
I'm surprised he's awake. He's working on the Adventurer's Army is what he's doing, damn it.
I have closed Skype so because he won't read. I just told him I'm streaming and he will not read that. He will call back in about 30 seconds.
Yep.
Fair enough. Okay, so we have a brand new adventure and whatnot that we're having for Castles and Crusades. Now, my next question, of course, is going to be, I'm a DM, I'm a GM, I'm a novice castle keeper, so I of course got to know, are there any unique monsters to this adventure?
So yes and no. This is part I got to be careful.
We can't give it away.
Because he gives it away. He takes some creatures that you're not unfamiliar with, and they suddenly become very different. Much more dangerous than previous.
Okay, all right, fair
I
enough.
think that doesn't give too much away. I hate this. I want to say what's going on, but I don't want to spoil it for a lot of people.
Okay, fair enough. We'll try and keep the questions as vague as we possibly can. Though,
this reminds me, years ago, before the Lord of the Rings movies came out, Todd and Mac, the whole crew of us, we were at Dragon Con, and Todd went to a panel that had who played Legolas? Orlando Bloom. Was that who played Legolas?
yeah.
So it had Orlando Bloom on and a couple of the other people from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Q&A, what's going to be in the movie, blah, blah, blah. Todd said through the whole hour and a half, all they could do is say, we can't answer that because of our non-disclosure.
We can't answer that. No,
Darn
we can't.
NDA.
But Kurt, we can tell you that it is an adventure.
Well,
Yeah.
it's an
know,
adventure,
so.
everybody. It's an adventure. It is an adventure that is gonna knock your socks off. I have no doubt about that. Okay, so, all right, what can you tell us? Now, there's been some things that have kind of trickled down through the Kickstarter or whatnot, right? But like, is there any little juicy nugget or whatnot that you can give us to kind of chew on for the time being?
So it's a higher level actually than I remembered it when we published it, when Jeremy was converting it to C&C, because we published it as a D&D 3rd edition. He kept shooting me questions, and so it's higher level than I remembered. And Gary builds in there. You don't actually. I can give this out. I think you don't actually have to do what the king is asking you to do to succeed. So Gary built it into there, so you can take several different directions in your adventuring. Yeah, man, it's just hard to. It's
Okay.
I will think of a nugget. You will see. How's this, Chuck? I hope this doesn't mess it up. You will see a pond like you've never seen it before.
I love this so much.
I do too. I do too. I like this. I like this a lot. Okay. Okay. So, if we can't necessarily talk about Hermit specifically, right? Maybe we can talk about perhaps some of the little add-ons and Kickstarter. Stretch goals that have been met. I saw earlier today the Thieves' Cant Dictionary.
Yes.
What is that?
So this is a piece of. I'll go ahead and give you the longer history of it, since we can't say too much about the Hermit.
Yeah.
But when we first signed contracts with Gary, we wanted adventures out of him, and he didn't want to do adventures. He had this encyclopedic set that he really wanted to do, the Gygaxian Fantasy World series, and the first book was the Canting Crew. So in all of the negotiating, the Canting Crew was foremost in his mind, and that's actually what we published of his first, minus a very tiny adventure he wrote in the Codex of Air. And the Canting Crew, Gary was really, really into the Renaissance era time. Not quite medieval, but right into the Renaissance. And if any of you guys have seen the movie, what is that? The Five Corners, the Gangs of New York, the movie Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you watch Gangs of New York, it's the perfect kind of rendition of what's in the Canting Crew. All of those thieves in there are different types of thieves. Some are pickpockets, some steal from vendors, some fake their identity, some are burglars. I mean, there's this whole, and I had no idea any of this ever existed, right? But the Canting Crew is that. He took that kind of, that whole culture from the 16, 17, and 1800s and translated into the Canting Crew, and it becomes this perfect book for thieves, rogues, assassins, that underbelly of classes that we all like to play. And in the book is a cant. The Thieves' Cant, cants to English and English to cant. So you can, if you really want to get studious about it, you can study this dictionary and you can speak in cant and really aggravate your DM. I mean, you can really aggravate
Rachel, I know you are texting Thomas right now.
I'm literally
I
getting it down right
100% know that you are texting Thomas right now.
Yeah.
So that dictionary has, I've got the original Canting Crew. I keep Gary's books at hand because I use them all the time. Let's see if I can find. A funeral is called a flying camp. Legal authorities are called camp. Ale is rum belch. An apple is custard. So it's just like, and Peter just gave me the book. It's 68 pages long. What in the hell?
Wow.
He needs you. He needs you.
Is that him? Was it him?
No, it was from Florida.
Okay.
It's driving me. At any rate, so that's what the dictionary is.
Okay, so that is really cool. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that today, I had to raise my my pledge level because I had to make sure that I got that I got that. I had to make sure that I was like, no, I need that. That's something that I very much need. Yeah,
not a want, it is a need.
Right? Yeah, it is not a want, it is a need, because I will have people at my table who will start using that against me, and I'll be like, what are you saying?
Oh yeah, one of my guys texted me today when he saw the update, and he hadn't backed the Kickstarter or anything. He doesn't really back a whole lot of theirs because ultimately I end up with stuff at the table here, and they know that. Mm-hmm. But he wanted me to make sure that I got a copy of that. I said, well, just back to Kickstarter and you'll get a copy.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I told him. He wants it bad. He's got a 70th level thief in our group. Oh, he wants it so bad. We'll probably back
awesome. That's awesome.
I have heard long ago. I heard Gary speaking in cant at a table. I don't know what he said. I don't speak it, but it was really cool.
That's cool.
Thieves' Cant is really cool.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. Awesome. That is great. So I have a question though, right? And you may not be able to say more or not, right? But forgive me because I can never say the name. I just call it Castle Z. That's just what I call it. Okay, I call it. We've had Castle Z. We now have the Hermit. Does these lost? You call them legendary adventures. I call them the lost adventures almost of Gary Gygax. Is this going to be a continual thing? Is this a one and done, or are we going to see more of them? Is this going to run parallel to aired, or what are we doing here?
So nothing has been finalized. I've been talking to the attorney for the past couple of weeks for the estate. We're working through a very large discussion to cover more stuff. So the hope is we definitely have the Hermit and Yigsburg, Castle Zagig is the way I pronounce it, and Yigsburg, which we just released. And then we've already got permission from the courts to do the Gygaxian Fantasy World series. That's actually how we're doing the canting. The cant from the canting crews, it's just a promotional, really, to justify it. It's a promotional for, the GFW coming forward. And it'd be a great resource for everybody else. Because in the first quarter next year, we will do the 7-volume set of the Gygaxian Fantasy World series as a full hardcover encyclopedic set. And it's kind of, I don't want to get too much into the whole what happened in 2008 with, when we lost license and stuff, because it's whatever, it happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But Gary, and I didn't really understand his passion in the beginning because we were trying to do adventures and sell adventures. But Gary really wanted to do this encyclopedic set because it was all of his kind of combined knowledge and the knowledge of other people that he was tutoring. So he wrote, of the 7 books, he wrote 2 completely himself, and then 2 he was co-writer on. And in the others, he was the editor of. This is the content I want. This is what you've got to discuss. This is what you got to cover. So, and it was kind of open-ended. I was in the files today looking for the canting crew, and I had completely forgotten because it's been so many years, but we were working on another 4 volumes in the series. I'm not sure how far we were on all of those, but there were more, he had one on pantheons. He had one essential places, which is kind of like encounter areas. And then there was a joke when he really bad wanted to do Waylon Smith's catalog, and it was just like exploding apples, carts. He just had all of these funny magic items that he wanted so people could really spruce up their games with just a little bit of humor. So there was so much in this series that he wanted to do. And in retrospect, I can see where he was really trying to guide himself and Troll Lord is to just get this huge encyclopedia set out of books. So we've got minimally the 7 that we'll be doing first quarter. So that's all locked in contracts, and we're golden on that. After that, we are hoping to expand into the complete and total Castle Zagig material, which will include the setting around Yigsburg. We're going to redo Yigsburg as a full color hardcover, reformatted the whole 9 yards, do the setting itself if we gain permission. And then the castles that sit upon the bluffs that overlook the setting in Yigsburg, and then beneath the castle is this gigantic 17-level dungeon.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's Gary's the Castle Greyhawk. Yeah, so and I say 17 with trepidation because I remember back in the day when we were publishing this stuff, I put a press release out. We will be releasing all 17 levels of Gary Gygax's Castle Zagig, and he shot me a very irate email with so. You own Castle Zagig now. You know how many levels it is? It's 17. Is that how many levels it is? What if there's more? It was really a funny kind of, it was a Gary quietly chastising me that there'll be as many levels as I want there to be.
That's
awesome.
Really cool. So that's the hope. And then but we're really hoping to unlock it. One of the huge things that Gary did, Hall of Many Pains, is this, it's kind of hard to describe. It's sort of like the Hermit with this kind of weirdness, but it's this giant tower, and there's just window panes in it, and each pane takes you to a different plane, and each of these planes is this kind of weird. It's not like you think that's in a traditional D&D, like the plane of Gehenna or Hell or whatever. There's just these weird planes that he created. So that stuff's really, really cool. I mean, there's just so much good stuff that we're really hoping to untap. It's just been a shame that this stuff hasn't been out these past 15 years.
I'm not gonna lie, that tower sounds amazing.
Oh, it does, man. I've never seen it or looked at it. I'm dying to read it because I think, man, that's badass. There's just a lot of stuff.
I think the name is the Hall of Many Pains is just a fantastic name.
A lot of people missed out on this stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with during and right after COVID, there was really a giant renaissance with 5th edition, and gajillions of new players coming into it, and it's just a shame that they can't go, grab this lore that's very useful at the table.
Kurt,
Yeah.
if it's okay, I
We're
got busy today. Working.
we're facilitating, so
Well, if it'd be all right, would it be okay if we did some giveaways? I had forgot to tell Amanda. I had mentioned it earlier, and I forgot about it. But I was going to do some giveaways.
I mean, Amanda, can you work the Nightbot?
Amanda's got it.
Amanda's
She's already got it. She's on it.
I mean, that's 100%. If Amanda's got the Nightbot, by all means, I have limited control on this end when it comes to that. So if Amanda's got the Nightbot, we can most certainly do a giveaway. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
We're going to give away 1,000 pennies. Is what we'd like to give away.
1,000 pennies. All right. So you know what? I feel like that needs like enter with exclamation 1,000 to get your 1,000 copper pieces.
So we're going to give away $5 $10 digital coupons.
Outstanding.
Or towards a PDF purchase if you want to get something more than $10, right? You can use $10 off. And then two $25 gift codes for just whatever on the store. So.
Outstanding. All right. Well, okay. Well, then we got to time this big time. So that's two. Wow. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for being amazing. Amazing as always.
It is set up already with #BlueBoxRPG, I believe.
Is it set up with that?
Yes.
If it is, then by all means, folks, make sure that you enter. Please type in #BlueBoxRPG to enter for such a wonderful, thank you very much, giveaway this evening. It's going to be awesome. We will draw those names in a little bit, though.
Chuck, I had a friend of mine got a fee from the court up in Chicago, and he paid it in pennies, or tried to. He brought $500 in pennies to the judge, and the judge found him in contempt for $1,000.
I guarantee it. That's some.
That is legal.
Cojones right there.
That is legal tender, sir. I mean,
he's not wrong, but
it was really
that's
funny.
Crazy.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
that's something I would threaten but never do. So.
Yeah, I would never do that.
You know what? There is one thing. It's a little off topic, but I do want to take a minute to talk about it a little bit, right? Because is the play group, the actual Castles and Crusades play group, the league, the community.
Oh, you're talking about Endless Worlds?
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
I know very little about that. So what exactly is that?
It's kind of like the Hermit. We can't really talk about it.
Oh, okay, fine, all right.
So,
Man, none of my questions are getting answered tonight, folks, and I apologize.
I have a question.
Oh,
no, I can talk about it. Go ahead, Rachel.
Oh no, if you can talk about it, talk about it.
Oh yeah, I can talk. There's not a lot to say, really. It's just a vision I had when I was a small child, and then eventually I worked my way through all kinds of organizations to get to the Troller Games because I knew that would be the platform to launch it on.
Oh, okay.
It's just a organized play program that we're developing. I've been working on it for several years. I've been slowly working on it because, of course, we have other things we have to do. And, I was trying to do something unique, a little different from what everybody else does because, most organized play programs have lots of rules and stuff, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But most people that run their games like to kind of do their own thing, right? Mm-hmm. So my idea was to have a program where you could come and run your game the way you want to. Within reason, what I'm saying, and just you control it without having a lot of control. So that was originally what I wanted to do with it, but it's kind of morphed a little bit. But in a sense, at this point, and we're this close to getting the website page up and everything. This close, 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. That's what we always say. That's what we say. 2 weeks around here. 2 weeks means 2 years.
2 weeks to everything. Yeah, Chuck's being a little bit shy about it, but he was originally hired to do the organized play for Troller Games, that and Twitch. But very, very quickly, other duties started falling on his desk. And when we learned that he could do them, more duties fell upon his desk.
Yeah, it turns out I'm old and no shit, but, whatever.
So it shifted. But the hope here is to get it set up so that we've got conventions like DairyCon, GameholeCon, all of these cons where people can readily go in, sign up, get a table to play it, and they're not necessarily in some kind of structured environment. They can play their own games or however.
Right. it's the main thing about it is I tell people is the only thing we want people to do is to run something that's loosely related to us. It could be
Okay.
setting, it could be an adventure, it could be the game.
Mhm.
I mean, you could run 5e and Aird, or you could run Eberron, or you could run. We just want to have some reason for it to be part of us, but we're not going to be so strong armed where we're going to say, no, this is what you're going to run this season. You're going to do this, and you're going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to have living campaigns or player or characters at first because that's a lot of work. I'm not sure we'll ever do it. More than likely, my guess is if the program succeeds, which I think it will, eventually we'll probably have a good, strong volunteer group that can operate with the living world stuff and do that too. Because I know a lot of people like to do that. And I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But the management behind it is,
Oh yeah,
I just-
for sure.
I can't even imagine us trying to build some sort of structure for that, and I want to, it's more important to me that we bring people together. That's the whole point of this. So people can find other people that want to play our stuff,
Mm-hmm.
be it setting, game, rules, whatever. They can find each other. That's
Yeah.
the whole goal. Be it at a local gaming store, your house, convention, wherever,
You
And
know,
if you're part of go ahead.
I was about to say, Chuck, you probably could get more work done on the organized play if you weren't at the beach all the time listening to
I know.
this.
That's true. That's part of it. That's true. I do. He's been angry at me ever since I moved down here. He doesn't like it.
Listen, I'd be angry too if my employees just went. You know what? I'm just going to move to Margaritaville and call it good. What are you going to do? Right?
I will say, I will say that we are looking for GMs for Gary Con. If anybody's interested in running games, we have lots of stuff to give out. We're giving out discounts, swag. Gary Con's giving a bunch of good stuff too, along with that. And we started putting ads out this week for it. If anybody wants to run something for us,
Mhm.
and the badges are sold out, they can email me and I can get them access to where they can buy a badge. Okay, because I have.
Well, I can tell you this
So-
much. I'm going to be at Founders and Legends as well as Gary Con. And if
Good.
you need a GM, I will happily run a game for you.
Oh,
That'd be
very cool.
awesome. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, then I'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
You don't know. You've spoke the wrong thing.
The only other thing that I'm running at Gary Con is I have an open game for Ravenloft 2E. That's it. So
Good.
so
Is it
yes.
Gary Con?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get to play in a lot of games at Gary Con unless it's his late at night because I'm working the whole time. But
Well,
you never know though.
I have
You never know.
I have many after hours games for select folks. If
I
you
see.
wish to come and roll some dice off the clock.
Cool. Definitely. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, so spread the word. Anybody wants to run some games for us, we'll give you store credit, swag. We have an exclusive T-shirt we do every year. I can't tell you what this one's going to be, but we're gonna have an exclusive T-shirt. So
Nearly free T-shirt. All you got to do is run a
That was
game.
that was one of the things that I was 100% gonna ask.
you got to run 3 hours. You got to run 3 hours is what you got to run.
That's
So run one
a
game.
game.
You got to run one
Yeah.
game.
That's it. That's all I want. Just somebody to run a game. Yeah.
Well, that was actually gonna. I mean, talking about Gary Con, that was gonna be one of my questions for you guys. It's the 50th, right? So
Here's something for you, Kurt.
Yeah.
It's the 50th of D&D.
yeah.
It's the 25th of TLG and the 20th of Castles and Crusades. I don't know how that all worked out.
So
That's
true, that's
wild.
true.
but
That's
here's
true.
Triple
so
celebration.
so is
Yes.
there is okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a big deal, right? So
Big deal.
is there anything that you can hint at that may possibly be on a burner somewhere? If the stars align, kind of thing, for a celebratory type event?
There might be a tournament being planned.
A tournament, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I'm working on a tournament. Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, we're looking at trying to take over the Gary Con Open, actually. So we're working on it. Tournament and some other stuff. We're trying to plan some stuff. I'm trying to plan some really cool things for that week or that weekend. I should say.
Outstanding.
But there's a lot of stuff already going on, so it's gonna be probably one of the best times up there. I think. Of course, that's a great con anyway. I can't go on and on about how great it is. We really enjoy it. But,
Gary Con.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. You know
I
what?
have
Oh.
a question.
Oh, I was gonna say
Yes.
one
We're
quick
gonna do a
thing.
poll.
We're gonna do it's the hour. So
Oh.
Amanda, do you wanna do a poll? Do you want to do a poll for our first winner of this evening
If you
for a
guys
giveaway?
haven't typed hashtag Blue Box,
If you haven't,
RPG,
if
you
you-
should do it.
If you haven't typed it, you better type it before Amanda hits the button, and because once Amanda hits the button, I have no control at that point. I really don't. See, look, Chuck's typing to enter, so like
Yes.
he wants the discount code too.
I never get to win, so.
I
Is this
never
for
won
the
anything.
PDFs, or is
right?
this for the credit?
My understanding is that it's all credit, but this
I
is
think it's a $10.
Here we go. All right, so Biggie, the man, the myth, the legend, one of our
Biggie.
one of our resident keepers, won our
he runs
first.
Castle's Grace.
Yes, he does. He runs it on Saturdays. Has won our first giveaway of the evening. That is awesome. Be sure to DM Amanda, and she will get you the codes, whatnot for what you need. Now, Rachel, your question.
Yes. I feel that this has probably been answered for sure at some point. I know it hasn't been answered tonight, but have you, like, what drove you guys to begin reselling and repurposing, I suppose might be the word, Gary Gygax's previous works?
So, actually, I don't think that question specific has been asked.
It has not.
Oh my gosh, this is great!
I want to hear.
Yeah, very interesting. So, the big story is in 2008, Gary passed away in March, and after the funeral, we talked to Gail, who inherited everything, and said, "Hey, do you want to keep going?" She said, "We want to keep going." And then in August, she had a change of mind, and she wanted to, so we negotiated, and I let her out of the contracts, and it was all good. And so we lost the contracts, and then everything went kind of just fallow. Is that the right word? Is that the word I'm looking for? Because she had plans to do stuff, and it never quite came to fruition. And it became, for me, it became both personally, because Gary was a good friend of mine, but professionally frustrating, because we had done a whole lot of work on Gary's material. And though we weren't as able publishers then as we are now, it was still some really good quality stuff that was coming out. And on his part, especially the Castle Zagat Yigsburg book, this is like, as it turned out, it's really his magnum opus, because he wrote that. He had no co-writers, no editors, he had editors, but no one helped him. This is his vision of Yigsburg, the way this thing played out. So Yigsburg had come out, I think, in 2005 or something, and all of these encyclopedics, and we were working on the Legendary Adventures. And he very, very, very passionately wanted his game, Kings of England, Kings of France, a board game, kind of that Renaissance thing again to come out. So we were working on all of these projects. And I remember the last conversation that he and I had in person. We did 2 conventions a year up in Lake Geneva, so that he had a place to go and hang out with his fans. We did Winterdark in January, and then we did the Lake Geneva Gaming Convention in June. And in the January convention, I remember sitting at the table with him. I'm sure it's somewhere around here. It was a yellow pad of paper, a notepad. I remember that. But we went over the Kings of England, Kings of France, what he wanted changed. And we had a very, very long argument over the color scheme of the maps. He wanted these really bright primary colors for each country, and I wanted it muted somewhat. So there was this long argument between the two of us. It's really funny. But then he gave me this list of things that he wanted to do, from Legendary Adventures to Castle Zagat to the Yigsburg setting material to the Gygaxian fantasy worlds. He wanted the Gord stuffs redone. And I have this long list, because I remember when the meeting was over, Davis, who is in and around everywhere with Troll Lord, he and I were talking about it, over a beer or Coke or whatever that night. And I said, man, he's doing more work now than he was doing back in the 1980s. This is absolutely nuts what he wants us to do, which was great. And then, of course, he passes away in March. We keep working on this stuff, but always in my mind is this conversation that Gary and I had, is because he was so passionate about these things coming out. And when it's kind of, and I'm trying to figure out how to, I guess it's all in the open now. The lawsuit between Luke and Gail went to court, and this whole thing about There was a second will, and I don't really know hardly anything about that. I was a witness in a case that Luke's side called me as a witness in, and I talked in court, did the whole 9 yards, and it kind of brought all of this stuff back up. And of course, Luke and I are very, very good friends. We've been friends forever and a day, and we got to talking afterwards when the rulings came down and all of that. Luke said, "Listen, the estate is deeply in debt. What can we do quickly to alleviate some of this debt? I mean, it is bad because the fear is that to cover the debt, that the court is just going to sell off the property, right? Because they can do that. The state has a debt, or you have a debt to the state. They want it paid. So
right, they do what they want.
I got in trouble with the IRS once. Let me tell you, they'll take it.
Right?
They no remorse.
Yeah, no remorse. They didn't even tell me. They just took it. So I tried to get to my checking account. It was gone. But so when Luke said that, I said, the easiest thing to do is to take out Yigsburg. Actually, it was Davis's idea to take Yigsburg out and just roll it out as it was then. We can maybe sell 300-400 copies and get that rolling out to folks. So the people, because I had kind of buried everything, right? An old wound, you can't do anything about it. I'm powerless in that situation. You bury it, you move on. It's what you do. But it's come back. So that all of that frustration for not getting Gary's material out kind of resurfaced. And when Davis mentioned Yigsburg for generating revenue and getting Gary back out, I thought, well, there's literally no better product that he's made than Castle Zaggig Yigsburg. Because he was, and we can go into Yigsburg here in a few minutes if you want, but he was so passionate about that city, far more passionate about that city than he was about the dungeons or the castle zagging or any of that stuff. Yigsburg was really where his heart and soul was. So I thought when Davis mentioned that, I thought this is a fantastic idea. We need to get this out to as many people as possible. And in order to generate revenue for the estate so that they could pay some of these bills quickly, the best way to do it is not do a gigantic overhaul, reformatting, laying out, all of that stuff. Let's just roll this out as the classic version that I think was selling for $350 or $400 a copy on eBay. So let's give everybody an opportunity to get this book if they wanted it. And the orders came in like easily 3 times, 4 times more than I ever thought.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, it's been done. So it shows how much love Gary still carries in the community, which is fantastic. And then we had asked for that, and I had mentioned to Luke that the Hermit is probably going to be the easiest to get out because it's not huge. It's a kind of a contained adventure. It's not attached to any setting. It's not attached to anything. And then the GFW series, which he was so passionate about, I thought this is the way to do it. And the court awarded us it took about 45 days, but in a very short judgment. So I'm not really sure how much latitude I have with these products.
Yeah.
But in a very, very short judgment, Troller Games can do this. Go, leave me alone. But we've been able to cut some very sizable checks to the estate, and they can get it to the court, which is fantastic. And that's part of what's happening with the Kickstarter now with Hermit, because a good chunk of that will go to the estate, and to the courts, which is also fantastic. But really, Rachel, I mean, that's a great question. I really think that it didn't, pop in my head until Davis mentioned Yigsburg, and I thought, no, that's it. We got to put this out because that's what he loved the absolute most was that town. And it really, if you've had a chance to look at it, it is crazy detail. I was nuts.
Can't wait to get my copy next year. It'll be fantastic. I can't wait.
You've got the PDF. You're good.
I may. Well, I guess we do have the PDF. I need to go get it. It's so funny. Before I come to work for the company, I was always back in Kickstarter and getting all my stuff. And now I just help make it. I don't get to look at it much.
Once you start working for the company, you get no swag.
That is the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. You start working for a company, you're like, I'm going to get all this swag. I see these people getting swag. No, you don't. No, you don't at all. You get a T-shirt that's maybe the right size if it was at the bottom of a box in a warehouse somewhere, and a coffee mug.
He knows well.
Chuck did ask the other day, he said, are there any more of those water bottles that we did a few years left? And I said, yeah, absolutely. There's a few left, like a half dozen or so. So I took one and I threw it on the top of the shelves in there so no one would take it. So it's there, Chuck.
Gotta drive down and get it. It's cruel. I mean, when we did GaryCon last year, we had some special shirts for the GMs, and I took mine and set them aside there at the booth, thinking, "Oh, no one will touch these because it's got my name on it."
Mm-hmm.
And then I falsely accused Steve's nephew of selling them to some customers, only to find out that his nefarious brother had took my shirts. He showed up on a stream with me wearing a shirt that was 4 times too big for his ass. Quite funny. I was like, "What in the hell you wear? Wait, where did you get that shirt?" Yeah.
I found
And
it.
now that shirt resides in New England.
Yeah, you can't leave things around where Davis can get them. He will,
No.
he will take it, wear it, eat it, whatever.
Now Sophie has it now. She's gone with it. So
Oh
there you
yeah,
go.
so
Night shirt.
she's
Great.
just like her dad too.
Oh my goodness.
True
Okay.
story.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? We've gone down some tangents. Okay, so back to the Hermit. Because I'm pretty sure that's what you guys really want to talk about. I mean,
We'll talk about anything.
Yeah.
And it'll be entertaining either way.
either way, right? Okay, so one of the big things is about the Hermit is that I saw that actually really drew me to it initially was the inclusion of these spell cards, which is really kind of neat. I thought that was really kind of cool, having a bunch of neat spell cards and stuff like that or whatnot that are coming down. Are we gonna see another spell deck?
You know, Chuck is always pushing me to do cards of one variety or another. It's, and I'm always
People like that. My guys use them. So
Yeah.
everyone uses them, I'm pretty sure, except me. And the only reason that I never used them is way back in the Woebegone days. TSR had the monster cards, and I used them once, I remember, and then they got out of order, and I could never find the monster that I wanted. So,
that's hilarious.
Don't let the past haunt you today.
Yeah.
so that is a very good question, and I think it's something we need to look at because I do like we've done the Adventurer's Backpack cards, which are these little bitty cards that have your backpack, all the contents on it.
Yeah.
which I think
Yeah.
So, and I guess since I never play spellcasters, I don't think that we need spell cards. But we
Oh yeah,
clearly
my
need
players
spell
get them
cards.
out. They get them out. They pick their spells out right there, lay them on the table.
Yeah,
They got
that's
'em
pretty much
So
a solely spellcaster player.
okay,
please.
so no,
Please.
like all right. So realistically, right? So on one of the things that made me really really interested in Castles and Crusades is because it had an old rule that kind of went away at some point. I don't remember when. And that is damage to a spellcaster's spellbook.
Oh yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a perishable item essentially. You catch a fireball from another wizard and you may have no spells anymore, right?
Right.
And so
Rachel
yeah,
doesn't like this.
yeah, right. But one of the cool things that afforded was, like, as a wizard, you have to pick up and learn new spells as you go. So as a DM, being able to hand the player, right, a card as they find it, you found this scroll.
Oh,
Bam.
that's
That is
cool.
cool.
Now you have to copy it down to your spell book if you want to retain it, right? And I know that sounds really kind of niche, but at the same time, that's one of the things that I've always loved about spell cards, is because the wizard, the only guy in the group who can read magic, gets to look at it and like, oh, this is neat. Oh, this could come in handy. And it gives them that little bit of like, extra, I guess you could say. So that was one of the things that I've always... So when the Hermit was like, we're going to have cards, I'm like, ooh, cards. All right, sweet.
It's funny. The other day, I think it was Davis, Chuck, I don't know, we're talking about monster cards because we got to redo it.
Yeah, we're talking about them. Yeah. If you want to do
And
that,
Davis
with
said, I think it was Davis said, well, what would be cool is if you had it so that you could take this card and on your screen, put it on the screen so the players could see what the monster looks like, and then you could read the stats, on your side of it. And I thought, that's a really good idea. It makes cards useful, which irritates me more because I don't really want to do them.
No, that's the whole problem. Yeah.
So Kurt, this is a great idea, and you're right. You're making a very valid case for more cards.
I mean, I'm here, but you gotta understand though, I'm a trinkets guy, right? So
Yeah.
the more little doodads and little things that I can have amongst my dragon horde at the table, right?
There you go.
You know, the more happy I am. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
like I'm the guy who sets up with I've got my dice box and I've got my 4 sets of dice, 5 sets of dice if it's a Friday, and then I've got my little potion. Yeah, I've got my little potion bottles and I've got my little spell book and I've got all my little, you know, like. Yeah, no, that's me.
Yeah,
I've
got 2 of those at my table, but
And see, and here I thought you were talking about level drained. I was way off, Mark. I'm sorry about that.
No.
That's about that's a forgotten thing too. No, it's not, Rachel. It's fun.
You lose.
It's scary.
You lose a level every time you're resurrected from the dead. It's a fact.
Not only that, in the Tears of Air game that we were going on, dude had a dagger that if you got hit and failed your Constitution saving throw, you would be level drained. And we were level,
excellent.
I think, like 2.
That's excellent. Excellent. That is excellent. I gotta give.
We didn't lose any
kudos for that.
levels because thankfully the people that got stabbed were really good with Constitution. But
I mean,
terrifying.
I mean, it's a thing. Dodge. You know,
I guess you noticed this.
Get better, you know. Don't get stabbed.
Just don't get stabbed. You know, you're good.
Rachel, I guess, Rachel, I don't know if I was the one that told you that when you played with us or what, but I guess you noticed on the character sheet, it's got a box of like 1,000 character sheets. I don't know, but it's got a little place here. It's got for you put. I forgot. I put it on my shirt.
Oh yeah, you gotta
right,
go to the
where
chest.
you put down your hit points for each level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always have players ask me, why is that on there? I said, so that's when you lose a level, we know what to
When
take
you
off.
lose a
Like,
level.
what do you mean? I said, well, I mean, there's things that will drain levels from.
Yeah.
It hurts so badly to look at.
It's
hard.
wonderful.
It's great.
It's great.
But it hurts.
It's
you know,
amazing.
from the olden days when I used to run AD&D back in the 80s, I gave experience points so grudgingly. We could play an 8-hour session. At the end of it, someone would get like 18 experience points or 26 experience points. If you went negative, nothing. If you went 0, nothing. I actually gave percentages based on the amount of damage you did. There was no role-playing experience. There was no gold experience. It was just crazy. Because of that, I would not use any monsters that level drained.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
Yeah.
Gosh, as someone
Wow.
that plays pretty much clerics and like healers, I would be screwed.
Wait a minute. Like, I'm just checking. You don't still do that, right? I'm just
No,
okay.
You know, sort of. Not. I really don't. I started about maybe 7-8 years ago. We started a new campaign, and Chris, it took them the big game that led to this map on the wall behind me to the world. What do we call the big game? We started in 85 or 86, 84, somewhere around in that past time. And we ran it up to about 2006, 2003, some mess like that. And they would average about, and we'd play about twice a week. They would average about maybe a level a year, right? Maybe. I mean, it was really slow.
How often were you playing though?
Easily twice a week.
Twice a
Easily
week?
And they got a level in a year?
Just about. Yeah, it was slow. We're gonna have to get Todd on here. Todd loved it because every game was this struggle, right? I mean, they just remember it. Anyways, so about 6 years ago, I decided to switch that up. I thought, okay, we're starting this new game, and Chris said, "Look, dude, we're in our 40s now, early 50s. If we can't do that again, we're gonna be dead before we make 10th level." I said, "All right, so I'll speed it up." So I sped it up some. I sped it up a lot, but it still galls me a little bit when I give like 700 experience points. I'm like, it's too much experience.
That's awesome.
That
Oh
is
my
awesome. Do we want to do another giveaway?
You know what? We should. Because we've only got 40 minutes left. We got to go through a lot of giveaways. You know what? Actually,
That's okay.
Amanda, can you draw 2 names for us, please?
2?
2? Oh no! Where's Bob Barker?
No.
2?
Type #BlueBoxRPG if you guys want to be in the giveaway.
Right?
Demon Gun!
Demon Gun 1-1. Outstanding. Who's our next one? And Mr.
Slothman.
3!
Yes!
That's a great name. I've always
You
loved
have
that
both
name.
won
So-
$10 gift cards to Trollor Games.
The
Outstanding.
demon and the sloth have won.
That means that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So good you tuned in. So good
That
you
you've been in
tuned
this.
in. Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh man. Okay. Well, I mean, the floor is your guys. The floor is y'all's. Is there more that you can tell us about the Hermit? I mean, apparently
Yeah.
all of my questions are stuff you can't answer. So I'll just be like, what can you say?
So one of the things that has interested me, I don't know if that's the right way to put this, but one of the most interesting things when we're moving on the Hermit, putting it together and whatnot, and obviously we've got a small, not obviously, but we have a small crew of artists: Peter Bradley, Jason Walton, and Zoe Devos, who all do mountains of work for us, and we it's we've got tons of projects working, right? Just and they're all busier and busier and busier. And I was needing something for just some art, for some cover art for it. So Davis and I began just kind of looking through Deviant Art and what's the other one, ArtStation, poking around to see what's out there. I found that it's a great way actually to connect with artists is just poke around and ask them, what's going on. And I found this picture. It's late one night, and I found this picture of this hermit, and I think it's called the Hermit's Journey. I can't remember what Wesley had called it, but it's just a great picture. I thought, well, this is pretty cool. I like this. So I just bookmarked it, and I kept going back to it over and over and over again. I just kept going back to this picture. I thought, this is actually Lodash. I don't know how Wesley did this, but this is literally Lodash, the Hermit. Gary doesn't go into a huge description of him. He's extremely smart, and he's hinted at having these very powerful magical abilities. But Gary leaves that up to the game master. That's that's your deal to do however you want to do it. And that's one of the geniuses of the Hermit. So I just shot Wesley. I thought, okay, after about the 15th time, I just drifted back to this picture. I shot him an email and said, hey, would this thing be available? Would this beautiful piece you've got here be available? And he wrote back, I don't know, in a few hours, said, absolutely. And we got to talking. He's got some absolutely fantastic art all over his site. His name is Wesley Gardner. And when I asked him at one point, I said, man, the more I look at this, I kind of want this on the cover. Could you do something with it? And he said, absolutely. So he went back in and painted some more to it and added some context and the building and whatnot. And within a few days, we have this absolutely astounding piece of art by Wesley Gardner. You can find him on ArtStation. I'd have to dig around to find his website. But yeah, I mean, so the art in it is going to be, and of course, we've got Bill Edmonds, who we hired for the Undying War a few years ago to begin overhauling our maps. One of the problems TLG has, because we've been doing this for so long, we've got this, you can almost, it's like, an archaeological dig. You can look through our adventures and you can see where Peter Bradley, who has previously done all of our cartography, evolved his style because they change from from era to era. He's doing it this way, now he's doing it this way, now he's doing it this way. And really I would like some kind of similarity in all of the maps.
We struggled a long time on that to find and Bill's wonderful. I wish we had done.
Yeah, Bill's great. So he's been hammering. He's done just a ton of maps for us now, and he's working on the Hermit now. So between Wesley Gardner and Bill Edmonds' maps, the art's going to be absolutely fantastic in the book. So I'm super jazzed on that. Watch out.
Did you see the comment the guy made on the Kickstarter about the Hermit picture?
I did not.
Someone there pointed out that it looks an awful lot like Gary, which I looked back at it and I was like,
it kind of does. And maybe that's.
And Wesley didn't know, he didn't paint that knowing anything, but it does look a little bit like Gary. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool.
His art is really. I'll see if I can find it. Or
I found it. I got you.
Thank you. Actually,
it's really cool.
There's another
piece. Good.
Yeah, there's another piece on there. See if I can open it up and see which one. It's a knight looking at this kind of green field. He's in the forest or something. I don't see it.
Oh, I think I found it with like the ruins.
Yes, he's on a white horse with the red shield.
Yeah.
That picture's another one I just kept going back to over and over again. And though it has no real bearing on the Hermit, there's a good chance I'll try to acquire it for something else.
You'll find some use for it.
The Cavalier. Sorry, I'm just
Yep.
No, not dropping any hints or anything.
And that's a great idea. Maybe a Cavalier.
Maybe a Cavalier, perhaps. Oh, that is awesome. No, the cover art is very much very beautiful. Like it is.
It's gorgeous.
Like it just like when I look at it, I just sit there and I very much am like, okay, this dude is gonna tell me something and it is gonna blow my mind, and I'm not prepared for it. Like I just 100%. This is
that book, the staff, the beard.
Like this is 100%. Right? They say that there are many tropes in D&D and fantasy role-playing and whatnot. One of them is you meet in a tavern. The second one is a wizened old man in a hooded cloak gives you your first quest, right? This dude is one step away from going, it's dangerous to go alone. Here, take this. Right?
And look, he's in front of maybe a tavern.
I mean, right? You know, like, it's
all lining up.
That's right.
I got it. It's an adventure.
It is so good.
We've discovered already the secrets of the Hermit.
Right. Yes. So I'll say another. Speaking of secrets of the Hermit. So
careful.
One of the things that you can, very careful. One of the things you can do, and this is one of the reasons I think I liked it so much. Generally speaking, when I run a game, con games are a little bit different because it's so contained, and it's not really a group. But if I'm doing any kind of campaign stuff, as Chuck knows, as he's played in a few of my games, I do lots of overlands, and frequently, if your objective is to retrieve the Dr. Pepper can, and it's a 2-week journey, there's 24 adventures before you ever get to the actual adventure, en route. And some are planned and some aren't, and however, the table plays out. But the Hermit has that built into it, and I think that's what I liked about it, because there's whole sections of it that just you got to do nothing or do more, whatever you want to do. Skip through it, go on, or have huge overland and put your own adventures into it. I think Shane Bradley said when we first announced it, he said it's more of a setting than it is an adventure, which I thought was very interesting.
Well, that area with where they've got the volcano with the fire yetis or whatever, that was what? Oh,
yeah.
Go on.
Keep going, please.
I'm making shit up now.
Wait. Fire yetis?
What? I just made it up.
No, he didn't. That was all too specific. A volcano with fire yetis. Yeah,
I will give you an honest answer. You'll know in a year. All right. Anyway, or whenever it comes out.
We are hoping it will be a hard run. We're hoping to have it at GaryCon this year.
Yeah, that's our goal, is to have it at GaryCon, because I want to run it at GaryCon. I'd like to run it. I've already got. I sat down with Jeremy and we chewed through it and created a one-shot for me for it. So try to run it. I might run it at Founders. I may run it at Founders and Legends too. Maybe I hadn't thought about that actually.
I will definitely have to keep an eye out for that, because
for sure. For sure, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah,
if you're upset with me, chat's upset with me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I couldn't stand it. Fire yetis, man.
Fire yetis. I don't know what a fire yeti is, but I'm afraid.
I want it. I don't want to go against it, but I do want to know. I want the knowledge.
Right? Exactly. Okay. So one of the things that you said that this is has a lot of overland in it, right? This particular adventure, right? So. Are we going to see some hex maps? Because I'm a fan of a big hex crawl.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things, and I think this was the second stretch goal, but so, I mentioned earlier that the Hermit, Gary wrote it just as an adventure. It really doesn't go anywhere. I don't know that he had any particular plan for it to be, in his world setting or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we're going to definitely write, and I'll probably do the writing. I'll fuse it with his Eastmark folio so that it fits with the Yigsburg. So if you want to play in the Castle Zagat Yigsburg arena, this is where this terrain will be. Now, I need to look at the scale of it. I can't remember the scale of the Hermit, and I've looked at the map, but I haven't actually looked at the scale to see how many miles it is, because the Eastmark is actually pretty small. But we will wedge it together so that you can definitely do that. And Bill Edmonds is doing a 32 by 24 inch area map. And I'm pretty sure it'll have hexes on it, so we will all be very happy with the map. And his area maps are just fantastic. So it will definitely have a bunch of maps.
Outstanding, because we all love our maps. We know we all love our
They're so
maps.
good.
Okay, so that actually brings a question, right? Now, you guys are converting essentially the old Legendary Adventure to this. How did you find yourself having to make a lot of changes to the original to make it work for Castles and Crusades, or was it able to kind of almost one for one it?
It very close comes to one for wanting it, and the reason being, and I didn't really find out this, didn't realize what Gary was doing until later, but he really loved Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That was his favorite version of the game and of any of the games. And of course, he lost that, whenever, wherever, long ago. So when he started writing Castle Zagging, one of the reasons that we built Castles and Crusades the way we did is so Gary would have a home for Castle Zagging. And that was kind of the idea. And when he first pitched it, I told him, you can do your own game and OGL it, and we can put it in the back of the book, and you'd be golden, and people can just play it from the books themselves. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted a game that people could go to and have a player's handbook and a monster book and all of that other stuff. And he knew we had that idea percolating here in the troll shop for a little while. So it was just this nice, can I use the word synergy? It was just this nice synergy that was created between Gary and the trolls about, Castle Zagging needs a home. Trollers are making a game. So we need, and I'm a huge AD&D fan. I came from AD&D, went to CNC. And really the reason I liked AD&D is because it was so lax in its rules and I could do anything that I wanted, right? There was a lot of wiggle room in it. And Gary wanted the same. And as it turns out, with adventures like the Hermit and Hall of Many Pains, he wrote that way. He wrote his adventures so that they're pretty easy going. So the conversion was not. It's kind of AD&D-esque anyways, and CNC kind of leans, in my perspective, leans on AD&D a little bit. So it bled over really, really, really easy. And I want to say that I want to caveat that I have talked to innumerable people who say that CNC is more like third edition, more like second edition, more like the basic set. I think it's whatever game you're most passionate about. CNC is kind of like that one.
Well, I mean, as someone who quite literally until I came to the Blue Box community had never encountered CNC before. When I picked it up, and John was very much, you've got to check this out. These guys are a big part of our community and whatnot. I said, okay, cool, let me go check this stuff out. And I cracked it open, and I'm like, this all looks oddly familiar. I've seen some of this before. Okay. And then suddenly it was like the years started to melt away and I was 10 again holding a book. And I'm like, this is cool.
I've always said it's like coming home. That's all. I mean, really, and it's whatever system you're playing, because CNC, and it took me a little while. I had to play maybe 3 or 4 games before I kind of got the gist of it. It takes you a little while if you're coming from another system to realize how much freedom it gives you to do, both as a CK and as a player, to do all kinds of stuff. And there's a ready-made mechanic there, and there's no restrictions on you. There's no looking at your character sheet. Do I have this skill? I'm going to try to convince that bartender to give me a cheaper brew anyways, whatever it is. You make a charisma check, you move on. So I think it takes a little bit of, adjusting into it. But once you do, it's like coming home, whatever that home may have been.
Kurt, he was a diehard. They had to pry him away from AD&D. It wasn't like he was following the charge of CNC. Everybody around him, Mac and Davis made the game, and then they had to force him to play.
We played, when I say that we played that big game up until 2006, we released Castles and Crusades in 2005, so we were still playing AD&D in 2006. The player's handbook was out there selling. I was out there pitching it, doing the whole things. But when I went home, I played AD&D. And finally, Mac and Davis said, look, we don't care if you permanently change. But if you do not play at least one game of CNC by the rules, we're going to just go on strike. And I was like, all right. So I played it. And like I said, it took me a couple of games to figure out, oh, wow, this is really. And from a storyteller's perspective, from a CK's perspective, and you guys CK say, or GM, so players are always wrecking stuff with their crazy ideas and I want to do this. Can I do this? Well, now I had a mechanic for that, right? You get the siege engine works perfectly. You can try anything. and I'll just make an intelligence save, whatever, and it works or
You
it
can
doesn't.
certainly try.
You can certainly try.
I will 100% say that the CNC definitely favors that phrase right there. Can I do this? You can certainly try.
Yes.
Yep, you can certainly try.
I love it for the role playing because my guys I've run a game here once or twice a month. The guys I grew up with, and we started playing in '76, and they're not role players, but they are now because we've been playing CNC for about 6 or 7 years as a group, and they have slowly became role players because it's just there's a lot less to look up, a lot less to plan. So it's just I don't know, it's pretty cool, So.
Yeah.
I can for sure attest to that. I've only played one CNC game. It's the one
that's
that
right.
you ran for me, Chuck.
You role played like crazy. That's right. I remember.
I love role playing. It is one of my passions when it comes to D&D. It's what I love the most, and it really does line it up for storytelling and role playing.
Oh, yeah.
Getting within those characters, like even within the combat, you are talking about what you're doing and like how you're doing it. It's very cool.
I'm a huge role player too. I love role playing at the table.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say, well, we're ticking away, and I think we need to do another 2 names. I think these will be the last 2 for our $10 before we, our $10 gift cards before we move on into some closing statements. So, hashtag BlueBoxRPG to get in on winning a $10 gift card to the Troller Games store for one of their things. One of their PDFs.
You get some coffee, or that's for
And thank you
PDFs.
for the gift
Sorry,
sub.
you can buy the copy of coffee with the $25. My bad. I misspoke.
We have
Thomas.
a water bottle in there somewhere we could sell.
Oh yeah, it's on top of a shelf.
Yeah.
We need a yeah. Oh, and Schmidt, sweet, thank you. All right, we've got our next 2 winners. Mr. Schmidt
And
Thomas.
Heart of Adventure.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice. Congrats, everybody. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Outstanding. All right, so before we draw these last 2 names for the big kahuna, we'll say, what is one thing that 100% you guys are on board, or like it was the whole you should buy the Hermit because?
Oh, it's the unusual encounters.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Fire Yetis, man. When you
Fire Yetis by a volcano. You know what? If at Gary Con there is not a shirt from at the Castles of Crusades booth that just says Fire Yetis and it has a Yeti on the back with like flames coming off the top of its head just running around, right? Like, I will be sorely disappointed. Okay, I'm just saying, right? Fire Yetis.
Toriel's got it right. He said because it's CNC.
I mean,
but I will say this. It's. I should open my mouth anyway because I don't want to reveal anything. But it's not very. It's like Shane Bradley said. It's like a setting. Not there's structure, but there's a lot of randomness to it too. I will say that.
Yeah, there's no the tropes aren't there. It's it's very
Thank you. That's exactly right. The tropes are not there.
Well, I should, at the beginning there's some tropes, but then you're kind of sucked into this is going to be a normal adventure, and then you're like I remember reading going I don't know what's happening. What?
I was like, why are they in a volcano? Why are they fighting Yetis that are?
What are these flaming Yetis? Where do they come from?
Exactly.
Right? Like, I don't know.
Are they in game not Yeti?
Hey!
Right.
Hey, Jeremy, you need to stat us up on a Fire Yeti right now. Stat Fire Yeti.
Right. We need a Fire Yeti. Just out of nowhere, there's just out of nowhere, you're doing your cross country hex crawl, and the random encounter. What Fire Yeti?
King Kothar says it's one of those I have an idea type adventures.
Yeah. Right. I'll add it to the list. See, look at that, right? Making it happen. That's what's up, right?
Making it happen.
Rachel, any questions before we do this last draw for these 2?
I think you kind of mentioned it, but I do like to ask any guests that we have: is there anything that you were like most excited about? with this product?
In the Hermit. So I gotta say, of course I mentioned the encounters earlier, but the idea that we can finally get this back out and to people so that they can see what, just a different perspective Gary had, because everyone has whatever preconceived notion. But at the end of the day, Gary was a gamer. I've never known anyone other than my brother Davis Chenault who gamed like Gary did. We would show up at these conventions at his house. We'd always go there Tuesday or Wednesday whenever we got there, and we'd eat, drink a little bit, and then out would come a game, and he'd want to start playing a game. I mean, it could be anything. I remember, because I'm a huge role player. I don't get it, but I remember he and Davis. I went talked to Gail for a little bit, and I came back onto the porch, and they were playing some Egyptian board game. It was like from ancient Egypt or something. Like, I don't know what's going on with this stuff. So Gary was really, really, really passionate about games. I mean, it really was. And to get something like the Hermit, which was now he never really sang its praises. Like Hall of Many Pains was his he really loved Hall of Many Pains, adventure-wise. But I absolutely love the Hermit. So to be able to get this back out there so people can dive into it and see this really, strange vision that Gary had is just great.
I'm selfish. I had a flood in my house about 10 years ago or longer, and I lost a ton of my stuff, most of the stuff that TLG had ever put out, and some of the later stuff of Gary's stuff. So having a chance to get this back again, I'm all in, because I don't have it no more. Oddly enough, most of my AD&D stuff and second edition, all that stuff survived because it was on the tubs were higher up, and all that got wrecked. And so I'm like, this is awesome. I never thought I'd ever be able to look at Castle Gigsburg or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just really cool. I think it's
I do like the idea that it'll be coming out and be affordable. It's not going to be I got to go to eBay and pay $400 for this book.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that's what people were facing. I mean, just like the Gigsburg, man. I mean, ours we did a reprint, but we still had to change the stock code. So technically, it's a reprint, but it's a different book. So that makes the old ones just as valuable as they were before, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people will collect, just like Alex Kamer or just any of those guys. Any of those people that collect they have massive, collections of D&D stuff. And they'll have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or something, and you just think, wow. And I never thought I'd ever be able to have something like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like for me the big thing, for me personally, the big thing about this when I first saw it was I was like, I have heard tales of this, and I must know, because I came into Dungeons and Dragons in AD&D, right? Second edition. That's where I came into Dungeons and Dragons was in second edition. So the whole having some of these original things, I never got to mess with Castle Z. I never did. That was never something for me, right? So something like this, and I'm like, the Lost Adventures of Gygax. Give it to me. I want them. Give it to me.
Yeah, man. Right.
And they did a Castle Greyhawk in the 90s, I think, but it was this kind of tongue-in-cheek Alice in Wonderland, and it's not Gary's vision. It's a very brutal, dangerous dungeon of
right?
Yeah, parody. Yeah. Oh, by the way, disclosure: I am not. So Biggie and Kothar, I'm not giving away my left or my right arm if we get there, because I have to eat and I have to drive and I have to do things for my wife. So
there is.
Give up my arms. Sorry.
There's prosthetics.
Wait, so what? It's brute. Yeah.
Wow, wow.
Rachel, you got good vision.
Right. Amanda, why don't you go ahead and draw the last couple of names for our last 2 $25 prizes?
As we slowly remember Chuck.
That way Chuck gets to keep his arms. His wife's about to send him to the corner store to go get some milk, and he's got to drive. So
that's right. That's
fair.
Fair. Well, okay. So apparently, the next Kickstarter will be your cybernetic implants. If you
evidently so. Kothar's lining up our production schedule already.
Brightwing.
All right. Brightwing has won. Kai Brightwing has won our first $25 gift card. And who was our second one? Who is it? Pedro!
What? Mr. I never win?
I never win.
Never
Pat,
win?
Somebody's
Pat,
clip that. That
Pat,
needs to be
I
put up on
never
Yeah,
win.
that needs.
Yep, Pat, I
You know what?
never win.
I'm clipping it right now.
Right? You better clip it because we got to archive that because he's gonna.
Yeah.
He's not gonna believe it. He's not.
No,
Gonna believe
not
it,
at all.
Lies. You said no, Pat. You got it, buddy. Well, friends, that kind of wraps it up for us this evening. All right. It really does. I want to thank our two wonderful guests tonight for coming and talking us about the Hermit, their upcoming Kickstarter. If you haven't backed it, go back it. At a minimum, grab the PDF. Grab the PDF, right? It is, and as they have stated, we have more coming, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be awesome to get your hands on some of these OG adventures from the man himself. It's going to be great. Thank you guys for coming and spending an hour with us, and our rambunctiousness. I apologize for anything that we may have said or done to cause brain cells to die. We cannot be held responsible for such actions. There's a waiver. Amanda gave you the medical waiver, right?
Yes, we got the waiver.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Wait, I didn't. What?
Well, we got to dismember you, Chuck. So.
Yeah.
It's for the good. It's for the cause.
It's
right?
for the cause. It is for the cause. Parting words from our guests, please.
I want to thank you for having us on. This is great. Love coming on the show, chit-chatting, and thanks for highlighting the Hermit. And if you guys haven't backed it, go check it out. And even if you don't want to back it, please do us a favor and just promote it on your socials, wherever, and let folks know about it.
And that, as always, thanks for, like Steve said, I have to back him up on that. Thanks for having us on. And we love this community. It's one of the best gaming communities I've ever been a part of. I love it. Everybody here is so cool. Everybody's just into gaming, and we see all of us familiar names in the chat stuff. All you guys are great. It's Pat made art for the Chaw Witch, Steve, for the Sunday game that Jingo ran. We were talking about that today, remember?
I got to figure out who wrote that. It looks like me or Davis, but I can't tell. It looks more Davis than me.
Pat drew an art. Pat's the one who's doing the sketches for my game last year. Remember I was showing this?
That's right.
Yeah, he's in the Sunday game and the Saturday game now. He's wiggled his way into both of them. So.
Yeah, just if you're reading any CNC material and you see that the description is longer than the mechanics, it's probably Davis and I wrote it because we far prefer to describe things than to mechanics.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate paint that picture with words. I'm about that. All right. Okay. I am 100% about that. Now, Rachel, are you going to do us the honors because we must keep the tradition alive?
I would love to. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hey, you lovely folks. If you are watching and you haven't followed, first of all, it's free and you should do it. And it's right there. It's just a little heart and it's great. But if you are a follower who hasn't subbed, did you know that it's free on Amazon Prime? If you have that, you could just once per month just give it a little follow. It'll be great.
Bezo bucks. Use them. Sacre bleu!
If you are a follower whose subscription has expired.
Oh no! She's an actor, folks.
For you.
What are you doing? Give us a follow, give us a sub. Thank you, everybody, once again for tuning in tonight for these two wonderful gentlemen. And if you haven't checked out the Kickstarter for the Hermit, go check it out. It is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And I personally can't wait to get my hands on it. Because I know that this guy, once he gets his hands on it, he's gonna run it here. That's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. We will do a mini thing.
Thank you,
Patrick. You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Patrick is amazing.
Patrick is one of the most amazing people ever.
So generous.
That being said, friends, I want to thank you all again. Thank our guests. And Jay is running an hour late tonight, so we don't get to raid into Jay. But if you're going to be around in an hour, go check out Lord Gazumba for his special event.
We can raid into Lawful Stupid.
Who? Oh, Manda. You want to raid us into Lawful Stupid? Will you, ma'am?
She's got it. She's in. She was already ready.
All right. Outstanding. Well, we are going to raid into Lawful Stupid, so please get your emotes ready. Get your raids ready. Let you know that you are coming on behalf of Blue Box and Troll Lord Tell them they need to go look at the Hermit and back the Hermit and make sure that these amazing, amazing products come out. We have a long timer on this for some reason. This time, it's not moving. It's not moving at all.
We're probably halfway through. We can keep going.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
No problem.
Thank you.
Fun fact, Thomas did message me.
Oh, did he?
Evidently, y'all told him about the camping.
Yes, we did.
He
already sent me a message. If you need any